So I'm going to show you some before and after comparisons here. So try and get those hips to turn more. 1431.
And that was just from the knee.
Absolutely. So this position is going to be cool to look at as well. So our goal is to continuously begin to lower where that club shaft is at this point. I think we're on the right track there doing that.
And it's not, I'm not trying to do that.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
The top of the swing, 82 degrees of turn. Top of this swing, 96 degrees of turn.
Just by letting it lead.
And that's from creating that space between your legs where we don't see any space there. Much, much better there. And this one, while it's still going to be a little over the top, you're not going to be cutting your head off anymore like you are over here. So that's shallowing out your angle of attack, shallowing out your path, your club path there.
So it's all these buzzwords, but it's not like I'm doing it. That's the problem with the buzzwords.
Yeah.
People get out there and try to do them.
Yeah, exactly. No, you can't physically go do that. I got to tell you how you're going to move your body differently to do that. Take a look at this position and the difference of where that club head is.
Yeah. So it's got a chance inside out now.
Absolutely.
I'm already outside.
Yeah, this one actually ends up being a little into out, whereas this one's right on top of the ball. This one's a little inside the golf ball. So here we go. This was the first one. So this is what we were just talking about for the last 20 minutes. This is new and improved.
Are you kidding me?
Absolutely. So there's the difference in hip turn, doubling it.
And I'm not trying to.
You're not
trying to do anything.
You are not.
I love those kind of improvements.
For sure. Just two more positions and then we're going to be able to hit some golf balls here. So follow through. We're keeping these arms pretty straight. This left arm is bending, and that's because of the out and in type club path. Left arm's going to have to start bending around the body.
Chicken wing.
Yep, a little bit of a chicken wing, exactly. Right arm's doing pretty good there. We could keep this club a little bit further away from our body. The better you can do there. Yeah, absolutely. And the better you can do there, the more extension you can do. We all know that that's going to help you fall further. Just simple physics there. Let's highlight these numbers for you. That should highlight right there. Not too bad. I'm not concerned about this red number. It's more that factor we were talking about, why we want to get it to a green number there. And essentially what that is, it's an external sensor. Hips are turning a little low there. That's a little bit of how that right foot was working, is that you were trying to get it to happen and it happened too late. And then that belt buckle needed to be pushed a little bit more toward the target. You can see him doing that one there, whereas yours isn't really pushing much toward the target.
Never heard anything about pushing toward the target.
Yeah, and the reason why we're not able to do it so well is we're keeping a lot of flex in that right knee, whereas you can see that while his is a little bit bent, he's relatively straight. He's using that ground to explode upwards. Starting your downswing here. So at this point, just still a little outside your circle, not quite back to where you want to be. I'm not gonna hit on this position very much because those numbers there's not much to talk about here. Let's continue on down to just before impact. This is where you said your athleticism's taking over. There's a lot of things that we need to fix, but you have to make some sort of athletic move to hit this golf ball. Can you time this to do it every time? Probably not.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
No, absolutely not. So let's go to impact there. Yeah, club head's a little open. And a couple of things I like to talk about at this point is wrists. So you see how it is right wrist, and that's what I was doing with that blue line that I drew there. Is bent and an extended motion there. Your wrist is going to be in the exact opposite position with your left wrist in the extended motion. Yeah, so this can be looked at as a scoop, a slap, or a flip there.
Yeah, camera doesn't lie.
Absolutely.
You cannot see that. Camera doesn't lie.
No, you can't see that one with your naked eye. That one's going to be hard to see with the naked eye. The next one, and the way that I'm going to help you fix this one is, so in your downswing, you got your hips shifting, you got your weight going toward the target really well. We just didn't maintain that motion there very well. So what happened is that hip sensor there ended up getting to a good position and then just moving away. So signifying that you started turning too early or keeping that weight back, or just not enough of that lateral shift in the downswing. You can see that Zach here has a pretty good distance between where his hip started versus where it is at impact. We got a pretty good shift there, just not quite enough.
And when you say shift, you're talking like that?
I'm actually talking exactly lateral.
Okay.
Yep, I'm talking lateral there, almost like a slide. Because that's how you start your downswing. You make a slide or a lateral shift and then the turn. Now this number is going to be relatively hard for us to get to a green number. I just want to see us get it closer to the 0-inch range, closer to where it would be reading at impact. We'll get more into that when we get there as to why we won't get it to green number, but just know that we're going to keep it around a yellow number, get away from being a full inch away from the target. Yeah, so top of the swing, hey, those arms, minus what we were talking about at the side view, pretty similar there, right? And that's one thing I usually look for is, we don't really want that club going all the way to parallel. Usually what that means is something is going wrong with the arms and the wrists. Showing that your club face is doing the same thing that his club face is doing.
Hey man, I'm ready.
We're doing good. We just have some things to iron out. We have some work to do, but there's plenty of positives. So we're not starting from scratch by no means at all. We just got to get you to keep that head more still from this view. To do that, it's going to be that red number of shoulder tilt.
That's the consistency.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now I got to do something. I have to do something athletically.
Exactly, you do.
Split second to get that club head on that ball.
For sure, exactly. Another one, so we've hit on shoulder tilt a lot. I've explained to you how it's going to affect the looks and the views of your swing and the backswing and how it's going to affect your turn, but we haven't really talked to you what it does in terms of your ball striking. So what it does, it helps you maintain an inclination to the ground. So it helps you control and know where the ground is and where you're supposed to be hitting that golf ball.
That's what I need, bro.
Exactly. Guys like Dustin Johnson, who hit the ball kind of far, tend to tilt more than others. So this is also a factor of helping you generate more power. And then you already mentioned that if you tilt more, it's your upward force in your backswing. So going up to where the left arm is parallel to the ground, and
come on, man, how do you do that?
so we've hit on some of the negatives here, but one thing I do want to hit on is one of your positives, and you can see that. So he's creating some space there between that line and where his hip was. So are you. You're doing a good job. And that's where you see that number being a blue number, exactly where I'd like to see it. Is the hip is being moved more toward the target.
What's the difference between the blue and the green?
So blue is going to be a little above that exact tour average, or it's going to be a little below. So,
but it's in the range.
Exactly. It's not too far off. It's actually one of your better ones. You just said you want to hit a draw. Blue number is going to help you hit a draw. The red number is what's causing that left that head to move. So when that left shoulder doesn't work downwards, what happens is it turns right into the chin. Either head's gonna move or shoulder's gotta go through the chin. more likely scenario of that is that head's going to move backwards, and that's what we're seeing here. And that is how he is able to keep that head so still throughout his swing.
And I've had coaches to say, don't move your head, but
So we're going to talk about impact from the front view because it's going to be easier to see. But I do want to talk about what's happening from impact into the follow through. And so we're going to see that club end up right here. Pretty good position, and what you're doing is you're actually keeping that club head below and right of the hands, very similar to what you're going to see here. So these are good positions. These are actually really good. I'm happy seeing this.
I'm here to make you happy, right?
Absolutely. What we're going to change is how this right foot is working. So you're going to see that he's going to roll toward the target onto that right foot, or off of that right foot onto the big toe. What we're going to see you do is actually kind of pirouette around that right toe, right? And then that foot over rotate that way. Whereas his is going to get straight to perpendicular. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with this. Typically what I see is more of the outside club path. That foot tends to over rotate. So when we start talking the right foot, when we get you to roll off better, you're going to start seeing yourself staying more out to the right or into out type swing. Better extension helps you maintain more of a weight forward type position. So all in all, it's going to help with ground up, knees, weight, hips, club path there. And that was one that's very important to me. And then we'll go into just before impact.
That's outside in.
That is way outside in. So that club's like right on top of the golf ball at this point.
No bueno.
Whereas Zach's is inside. Good reference point here. Club and hand all in one line there. We're seeing your club jetted too far right of those hands there. And from here, a couple things have to happen in order to make contact. Is you're going to have to pull that club back in toward the left side, whether you're doing that with your elbow, or whether you're doing that with your wrist, or just turning excessively open. Either way, yes, you are going to lose power. You're going to have a hard time hitting this golf ball solid. You're going to have a hard time being consistent here. Absolutely.
I'm relying too much on my athleticism to get back to that ball.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah, I mean, you've done this enough that I have no doubt that you can hit good golf shots here, but you don't know what's coming the next shuffle. And so, starting your downswing, we're actually going to watch these hands work.
So now I see. So now I gotta be prone because I'm starting.
Yeah, exactly. So right here versus right there. Mhm.
I'm on my chest.
Exactly. And the better reference point for you here is just where the club shaft is in relation to your body. So his is right in the middle of his bicep, whereas yours is you're trying to cut your head off.
So that's the same. So when taking it back when he was on his bicep and now
Exactly.
he's hitting that thing.
Yep. So he was a little lower in his backswing. Let me show you that one here. So that's where he was in his backswing. Then that's where he is in his downswing. So with you being high in your backswing, we got to be even higher or more over the top in your downswing, essentially.
I'm asking for it.
The good thing here is that we don't have too many issues with the numbers. Our
So I'm not moving around.
So your body's moving well at this position. It's just the arms are not. Let's work our way to the top of the swing. We get that left arm a bit too much in front of our face, and then getting that.
It's too upright.
It is.
It's the same thing.
It is too upright there.
Now I understand what you're saying.
This one isn't too bad, so that's essentially saying how far behind the body that club is. We're going to see that Zach's club is more so in the heel region. You're just like right over the arch of your foot. So that's a good reference point for us. We're going to want to get that club a little bit further behind us. Obviously the way we need to do that is get those shoulders just working in a better motion.
So it's the one you showed me before this.
Exactly.
Where I was off playing.
Exactly.
Now I'm upright.
Yeah, you had throughout your backswing you had been getting into a position that was going to get you too upright at the top of the swing. The shoulder tilt number, just as a reference point, should be closer to 36 degrees.
Okay.
That's going to help you get turning better. And then your shoulder turn, you're not far off there. Your tour average there's 89 degrees.
Draw me a line. So I'm at 22. So that means I'm two parallel.
Yes, exactly. So let's see here.
And you're gonna give me a summary of all this or something?
Absolutely. I'm making you a video right now, so you're actually seeing me draw all this here. So the bottom line there is what we're wanting those shoulders to look more like. So you see he's here at 32. That's where your number turns green at. You're at 22, and you see how the differences or how flat those shoulders are turning are. Yeah, that's exactly what we're trying to get more toward. Continuing our way up here, our next position is going to be where your left arm is parallel to the ground. And typically when we start seeing that we haven't turned our body enough to begin with, we start seeing a position with this club shaft that is too much above or too high there. So drawing our line there, and I'm going to just back him down just a little bit there. He's in the lower part of his bicep with that club shaft in the hands. With us, you have your hands right there in front of the chest with the club shaft going through the shoulder. What this is ultimately going to end up causing. So your hands are right here in front of your chest, like right in line with your buttons there on your collared shirt, and then the club shaft is cutting through on the top of your shoulder. Whereas Zach over here has his hands more behind him with the club shaft going through the lower to middle part of his bicep there. So essentially it's starting to show us that we're going to be swinging more out to in. And what that's going to do is cause some of those right misses. It's also going to cause that club to come down real steep. where when you were talking about that mushy ground, you're gonna catch behind the ball.
Got it.
And to fix this, gonna get you turning better and more. So, like I said, we want to turn on tilted axis, so these two, shoulder turn and shoulder tilt, are gonna play, a game together there. That's how we're gonna fix that one. And then the shoulder or the hip turn there. You can see how his left knee has jumped out so far toward the golf ball.
Yeah.
That's how we're gonna do that. It's called changing knee flex. We're gonna start straightening your right leg and flexing that left knee toward the target.
That gives you more range of motion.
It does, a lot more range of motion. Actually, at the end of the day, it's going to start helping some low back. I don't know if you said you had any low back pain, but if you do, it's going to start alleviating any of the extra pressure there. So the reason I chose Zach is he's going to show us some of the positions that we're going to want to look a bit more like, almost the exact opposite of where we are.
I need a big body.
It doesn't matter how big the body is, we're just looking for the positions of where the club's getting. So here, our first position in the swing is going to be where the club shaft's parallel to the ground. And a couple things that you and I are going to talk about are going to be how much you're turning your body, because as of right now, you're starting your swing with just a lot of the arms, not really getting the body to go. And a couple of ways you can see that from this view is the distance that those hands are from your body versus the distance from his body. When he's starting to turn, those hands are able to stay a bit closer to the body, not get away from him. Club and the hands, I do like the position with the club head and the hands there. Those are good. It's just we got to get those hands closer and essentially getting you to turn your body more degrees. That shoulder tilt, that one's going to be an important one here for us as well. And let me show you what that looks like here on Zach. You see how that that left shoulder is lower here? We're reading that your right shoulder is actually still lower, so you're turning your shoulders too horizontal, essentially more of a baseball type swing there. When a golf ball is on the ground, we got to turn on a tilted axis. So this is why this one's important.
So it's a little too lateral, too parallel to the ground.
Yep, too flat to the ground there. And then we'll talk a little bit more about this shoulder sway. That's going to show us that the head's moving more than anything from the front view once we get there. So as we go through here, I'm going to make you some videos. So you're going to get what's called a web lesson at the end of it. I'm going to show you all your login information, and then you're going to be able to come back in here and watch some movies. That's why I said about 20-30 minutes. Here you're going to be able to hear my voice, see what we're seeing on the screen here, and also every time I draw something there, you're going to be able to see it. Your numbers, and just a quick introduction of what they're reading and what they're measuring here. Anything pertaining to your shoulder sensor is going to be on the top or on the left side there. So shoulder, shoulder, shoulder. Anything pertaining to that belt you're wearing is going to be the hips right over here on the right. And they're measuring exactly the same thing, just from different points. The top number here, the 0, will always be 0. Those are sways. Essentially, those are going to measure how far that sensor is moving toward or away from the target relative to where you start your swing.
That was interesting. That's how long I've been playing. When I first got taught golf, they taught you to sway.
Yeah, they taught you big weight shifts back. Right. Yeah, and what that does is it's just a lot of timing. Yeah, it just causes.
That's why I tell people, I'm like, you're learning how to play at the same time. Got a lot of technology.
Yeah, technology is awesome because none of this you can argue with. And then shoulder and hip tilt, that's going to be side bending. That's the way I like to explain it. Essentially, tilt or bend to the right, that's going to end up getting you to rightward tilting. You do that to the left, leftward tilting. Shoulder turn, hip turn. Pretty self-explanatory there. Just that one dimension turn. Shoulder bend, hip bend, that's going to be measuring how far you're bending forward or backwards. And these numbers change for every frame that I change, and you'll be able to watch that as they're all moving and kind of bouncing around there as I'm just jumping around with the frames there. And then they're highlighting different colors. We do have all 4 of our colors here, so we'll talk about those: green, yellow, red, blue. So first 3, think of it as a traffic light. Green, you're good to go. Yellow, slow down. Red, stop. Try to fix that one immediately. What the green actually is going to mean is it's going to be a tour average. So we've gathered a lot of data from the guys playing on TV, and found that that's the way they're moving their body. So why don't we try to move our body a little closer to that? The blue numbers are going to be very close to that tour average, so just a little above, just a little below. And they typically exactly, and they
typically. If I was all red, you'd be like, you gotta go home.
yeah. Well, not exactly. But yeah, the greens and blues there, what they typically mean is they're going to produce more of a draw type swing.
Okay.
So blue being the biggest draw, green just being the smallest draw. Kind of the same thing with the yellows and reds, except for those are going to be more of your slices and fades. So yellow more the fade, red more of your slice there. That all makes sense there?
That does.
Cool.